So what we have seen right now, we created a storage on Azure. We chose a standard storage. We created it. We've uploaded one file. However, in Azure Data World, there are two kinds of storages are used. The first one is block storage and second one is Azure Data Lake Store. So Gen 2 I specifically mentioned it because there is Gen 1 as well, which will be in future deprecated by Microsoft. So throughout this course, we will be creating storage accounts, that is block storage, Azure Data Lake storage. We will be uploading file. We will be using those files, rather data on those storage for analytics purpose. Then obvious question is, what is the difference between these two, right? So I'll show you one slide which talks about the differences, but you may not understand all of the differences at this stage. So we'll pick some of those and I'll explain those in this session. However, we are going to revisit this slide again and again whenever we touch the other Azure services like Azure Databricks, SQL Data Warehouse, security, etc. So first, what is purpose? So blob storage is used to store files or data or anything like media files, unstructured data, or to archive any data. Continuously incoming files like log files or streaming data. Versus on ADLS Gen 2, what we store is typically large files. Large files mean it can be a terabytes, petabytes. Yes, there is no restriction that you cannot store the small files. So Azure Data Lake Store Gen 2 allows you to store any kind of file. That should not be an issue. So it is a purpose. Right? So it is not a constraint, or it is not going to prevent you to load any. So you can store big files on block storage as well. You can store media files, unstructured data on ADLS Gen 2 as well. But there is some purpose behind it. There is some intention. If you talk about the structure, blob storage has flat structure, ADLS Gen 2 has a hierarchical structure. So what do you mean by that? So in our Windows Explorer, if you have seen, if you have created many folders, which I would say nested folders. You have one folder, inside that other folder, inside that the third folder, etc. And then you have files at any level. So that is a hierarchical structure. So ADLS Gen 2 is nothing but like that only. You can create a number of folders, you can upload a number of files. However, on Blob, you can create a number of folders virtually. What do you mean by virtually? So in actual, we are not allowed to create any folder. However, while uploading the files on blob storage, we can specify the folder name. So although it will look like folder got created, in the background, the folder will not get created. We are going to see that anyway. So SAS URL security will skip as of now. Size limit, blob storage has a size limit. I am not specifically mentioning what is the size limit here. You can look to the resources which I'm providing in this course. Why? Because Microsoft Azure keeps adding functionalities and keeps changing the limits of their services. So I do not want to specifically mention here because this video will be seen by many people during the time when the Azure gets all the services upgraded. ADLS Gen 2 will not have any size limit as such because it is meant for big data. SDK support, so we are seeing or we are managing all the services using portal. However, there are other ways to manage or to use the services like PowerShell, REST API, or whatnot. So SDK is a set of programming language or libraries of your choice, let's say Python or .NET, where you can use that SDK and manage or use these services. So SDK support is there for blob storage. It is much more matured. However, for ADLS Gen 2, it is still in beta version and there are some limitations. In future, I hope those will be removed. These services also called through REST API can be managed through REST API as well. Driver, let's keep it. Data store as. So there are two types of storages inside blob storage. One is blob and page blob. Generally, we use blob for data analytics and data processing purpose. Page blobs are used by Azure, or even you can use, but mainly the purpose of page blob is to have a disk kind of storage. ADLS Gen to store all the data into file format. Append data in blob. So you can append existing blob, in other words, files on the blob storage, which is not supported in ADLS Gen 2. Keep snapshots. So blob storage allows us to keep snapshot. There is additional settings we have to do. So what do you mean by snapshot is how many times we update existing blob. So here I'm taking, or I'm using blob as a word that is alternative to file, you can say. So how many times we are updating file, we are overwriting the files, it will keep all the versions of that file or blob. Even if we delete, we can recover it through snapshot. ADLS Gen 2 does not support that. And the last point is lifecycle management. It is a configuration we can apply on the blob storage. And let's say if you want to archive some files or all the files at the container level or the account level, or with some pattern. For example, start.log. I want to archive those files after a specific period. I want to delete those files. I want to move those files to the other tier. I can apply that configuration to the blob. That is not available for ADLS Gen 2. Okay, so let's move ahead and see how we connect to the blob and ADLS storage through Storage Explorer and all.